So we finally got an opening playing in an episode that's still nearly 30 minutes long, but honestly, as much as I wanted to get up here and discuss, wow, we finally got an opening. Geuse, my boy, Emilia's development. What a trial. This is incredible. I would go as far as say ReZero's a modern classic. Don't care if people call me a fanboy or what. This is absolutely fantastic reveal of what led Geuse to become Beetlejuice, right? The man that we've come to know and love and know and hate in season 1. What led him to truly become that twisted man? And I saw a lot of good theories. I saw a lot of good speculation last week, but the simple idea that he's the reason that Mother ended up dead, skewered like a kebab, and he saw it as he was attacking Pandora that entire time because that's what she wanted him to see. And this man, in so much grief, just sat there ripping his face apart as a little girl says her goodbyes and says, I forgive you. If you need someone to forgive you, I forgive you. You didn't let me down. And she just repeats, die, 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 as she skewers Pandora to the point that she freezes everything around her. And if I'm not mistaken, most likely the reason that our boy always talked about death was because Emilia spoke so many times about die as he went insane, and that probably locked it deep down inside his mind. When I go back to rewatch season 1, which I plan on doing once season 2 has completed, I want to do a binge of the director's cut of season 1 and then obviously with season 2, because I'm going to see once again ReZero in such a different light now that I've seen this man be a normal man, a good person, turned crazy because of circumstances outside of his control. Absolutely phenomenal. I might go as far to say, and I don't want to say it prematurely, but at the same time, it's not like this is just one episode of development. We've had a few episodes of focusing in on trial number 1 here. I really think the Geuse content might be my favorite thing ReZero has thrown at me in terms of a narrative. As much as I love Rem's confession in season 1, as much as I love Subaru's confession in season 2, there's something about taking a character who I know damn well in any other author's hands who attempted to write an isekai like ReZero would have been a psychopath who was just insane, and maybe he had a backstory that showed him be a little normal before, I don't know, he got, as an example, most likely in most authors' hands, he would get the unforeseen hands ability and that would just turn him insane. That's kind of like the direction most authors would go. And I think most people would eat it up, myself included, because he's a very memorable character at his insane level. But to see how he connects with Emilia, a character who people shitted on in season 1, and I loved Emilia since season 1, but I saw where they were coming from because she didn't really change. She acted more like a child. And you're seeing in this episode why she was locked in that child's thought process because of Pandora, what she said, what she made her forget as she locks herself and others away in this Ice Kingdom prison. And when she finally wakes up, she is a child in a more teenager body. That's basically what she was. And it really wasn't until this trial that she started breaking away from it and the memories finally started to come back in. Absolutely insane development, and it really does put into perspective. For me personally, rewatching the show, I'm rewatching specifically just because I like the show that much, but in terms of wanting to see something different, I really want to see just Geuse in a different perspective. But you can say the exact same thing for Emilia. To see that goodbye, to see Pandora, a character who last week I said was terrifying, and most people were like, yeah, she's absolutely terrifying. Phenomenal character, but terrifying. But there was some people who were like, what are you talking about? There's nothing terrifying about her. She's just really sweet and nice. And I'm like, you know what? You drank the Pandora Kool-Aid? I get it. This episode, she literally killed this girl's mother just so she could open up the seal. And when she didn't get her way, she had these looks that were like, I'll destroy everything in my path to get what I want. Most frightening character for me. And goddamn, I was not expecting to ever say that because there's some pretty horrifying things in season 1. The idea that Emilia now wants to release those that she thinks she can save. She can't save her mother. That's part of her accepting her trial there. But she still has a chance of unfreezing everything that she caused. And she fully kind of says, I did this. but I'm going to ask for forgiveness. And she's like kind of doing these selfish things very similar to that of Subaru. And it just like really pisses off Akitana. And I love how she's kind of accepts that, you know what, as long as it helped to get over your past, good luck with your next trials. They're not even going to be a struggle for you, seeing how you dealt with this one. And the fact that they bring up the Black Serpent, who we saw in last week's episode, a simple touch literally destroyed a person's body. And a lot of people are like, how the hell is Subaru gonna deal with that? Same. Like, is that gonna be so deadly that if Subaru gets touched, it's gonna like even overwrite return by death? Imagine that if he dies and he just like gets in an endless cycle of death loops from those serpent. There's going to be some challenges that are definitely the next arc over, because based on what we're seeing here, we tackle the trial, and maybe there's another episode or two. I would honestly be surprised if it's more than one episode, just because based on the conversation towards the end before we switch over to Subaru's side, she's saying that it won't be much struggle for her. So I'm curious, like, once we beat it, right, we then go to the mansion. And the question is, does the gang succeed in the first attempt here, or do they loop again? Because there's no way in hell you would be able to convince readers or watchers that if Subaru fails, we have to witness all of this development over again. There has to be a new checkpoint similar to that of the whale. So even if they do fail in the mansion, there's probably a new save point. But even then, it feels like based on how long they've been developing this current arc, it feels as if the next time we tackle the mansion probably will be the one that defeats it. But then again, it's ReZero, they can always throw us a curveball. As long as you don't have to see this development again, I won't be angry in the slightest. And if I am angry, I trust in the author to make it right, all things considered. I really appreciate that this was an episode that really felt like what you thought you knew about ReZero, and in this case it's most likely who Emilia was, where she came from, and then of course Geuse. You didn't know shit. That's the easiest way to put it. And this is an author that clearly had a pretty damn good plan in his mind, and I'm really impressed with how he's able to direct it and just write it and flesh it out, and how White Fox really uses a full 30 minutes to their advantage. It took us how many weeks to even get an opening because they knew they needed to encompass all the episodes with all the dialogue needed, and it's only because we were at the end of the first part of the trial that they could even throw the opening in. And the opening is fantastic. I think visually it's absolutely incredible. It actually kind of makes sense too that they kind of found a way to probably explain why they didn't pop it up besides the obvious, well, we have so much content we need to get through, we didn't want to waste it with openings. But like the first thing you see in the opening is like the most spoiler thing ever for the content in season 2. So it's probably good we got it when we actually did. The song's incredible, obviously. Season 2's openings have been absolutely bonkers, but still, I'm loving what they're doing, and just the idea of the way our boy Subaru throws it in Roswell's face, saying like, hey, I brought someone who's not in your prophecy. I'm really showing you that my plan's gonna work and you don't know what's gonna happen. But at the same time, this clown, you never really know what to feel with him, right? So it's interesting because this is one of those episodes that really just blows your minds, takes characters you thought you knew and loved, and turn them into characters you know even more about and love even more. But also are saying if they can do this to characters we've already really come to know and hate, such as Geuse, and turn him into a person before turning him back into the insanity. Or in the case of, say, Emilia, a girl who's very childlike, innocent, seemed like she didn't know what was happening, seeing a backstory what led to her insanity, so to speak, this calming presence that locked away memories, made her trapped as a child, and she froze everyone around her after seeing her mother die. I mean, what else can they show us on characters we already love? I mean, just think, like, we've already seen so much with Subaru. Where's Subaru gonna go now? I mean, just the fact that the relationship between Emilia and Subaru is actually, like, landed, and it's still being referenced, not in passing, like, oh, she's like, oh, I kissed Subaru, that's nice. She's constantly thinking about Subaru when she's dealing with this trial, and it's showing that they've really come to meet this, like, really common ground, and I hope he gets a save point, goddamn, because this is what we've been building up to, and that's the whole point of Rem's confession, saying, you gotta keep tackling this, because that's what I fell in love with, a man who doesn't give up, and now he's passing that legacy over to Emilia, and she's even starting to talk like him. Absolutely incredible episode. I am so excited for more. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, and definitely your favorite moment of this week's episode, and where do you think it's going to go with the trial in next week's episode? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.